I don't remember what we're supposed to talk about today. I couldn't find my keys this morning. I haven't checked my email in weeks, and I couldn't find my wallet. So I feel like a mess.
Whoa. It's okay, Eric. I'm really glad that you are here today because today we're going to be talking about becoming and remaining organized with Sam Huffman. They're going to be telling us all about it and the benefits of it.
I think I really need that. And you might too. So, welcome to this episode of the Principal Choice Podcast. Find your people, wait, I did that wrong, didn't I? That's just me being unorganized. I really need some help, don't I?
It's okay.
Yeah. I think you should do that part.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Find your purpose.
Find your people. Find your place.
Welcome back to the Principal Choice Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of becoming and remaining organized, and we have a special guest, Sam Huffman, joining us today.
So everyone has different levels of organized. I know for myself, I'm kind of in that like weird middle category where my work stuff has to be like OCD organized. Like emails need folders upon folders upon folders. I take a look over from working at home to the left, and it's like I know where everything is, but it's not perfect. What level of organization do you keep in your life, Sam?
Yeah, I try and keep organization throughout everything because if I don't organize my stuff, I'm physically, mentally like gonna go over the wall. I will go crazy. Like my partner will slightly move something out of place and I'm like, where is this? Where did this go? This has a spot, and I'll move his stuff shamefully to the proper spots. But he's like, that's not where the spot goes. And I'm like, listen, this is the spot. This is where it goes. And I get a little anal about it sometimes.
That's fair. We all have our moments.
Yeah.
I know I'm that way about some things. Like it has its spot, like my keys.
Yes.
It needs to go in the right spot. My work stuff, all of that kind of thing. What like spawned you to be organized? Like were you always organized since a little kid, or was it like one day it just like the ball dropped?
I feel like it's always been growing up a military brat. My parents have always been very organized. My mom's always organized. She kind of grew up with that in the house of, oh, Sundays are cleaning days. This is where this goes. This is where that goes. Toilet paper rolls over the top, not underneath the bottom, and things like that that just settled in me and have never left since I was a child, I feel.
Very nice. Very nice. I wish I could say the same. My life's a little bit more chaotic. And I know it's hard when you have that bit of chaos and you're trying to remain organized or trying to focus on the best way to start organizing your personal life, your work life, that goes from your emails to your desk to just your everyday routine. What are some things that you have done that you feel like are really helpful tips and tricks to kind of help you start organizing a certain space? Because I think it starts small and then you kind of broaden it out.
Definitely. I say start off with your most used space. Start off there. Get everything that doesn't need to be there gone. Organize it to fit in a flow that works for you. So that may be, your kitchen. That might be your living room. That might be just your bedroom. Wherever you feel is your main spot that you feel like you see often, start there, because once that's clean, I feel like then you're like, oh, I can kind of move around a little bit more. You have a space to kind of come back to while you're organizing your other things, whether that's personal life or work life.
Got it. When you're helping someone at work, whether it's an associate or a lead or another manager, organize their space, their work, what are some of the first things that you do?
I kind of start with their desk. I feel like the desk is the big thing. If your desk feels cluttered, you're not going to worry much about your internal computer stuff. So I try and hey, what do you have on your desk? Is your desk pretty clear? Do you have a lot of stuff that clutters it? Obviously, some people like to have cluttery things. If that's how it works for you and that fits best for you, do that. If that fits best and flows best for you, that works. Just kind of find your space first, because I feel like once you get your computer space set up how you like it, it's easier to then feel like, oh, I'm ready to work. And then you can work on organizing your internal computer stuff, like your email or your Teams and things like that, the other stuff you use.
Absolutely. I know I'm that way where I have my desk set up a certain way and I have not moved it in like the 3 years since I've rearranged my office, everything has a place because I know exactly where it is. It makes sense to me, but it's clear. It has a little bit of clutter because unfortunately, that's just how my brain works. It thrives with a little bit of clutter, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see how that's beneficial, but also it can be a slippery slope. How do you help them maintain that organization? I think that's the hardest part. Like I can organize that first day and I get, this feels great. But then I let something slide and then I let something slide. And then it's an avalanche of, oh no, it's a pile of gunk again. I need to clean up.
Yeah. I definitely say, I feel like I mentally have a day that I come in and I fix all my stuff typically. Like Fridays is my like, okay, I'm wrapping up for the day. Is there anything I need to organize before I leave? So I try and keep a day and I kind of push that to them too as an option. Like just have a day that you're like, hey, things feel like they're cluttered. Let me just unclutter this real quick. And that's how I do in my personal life too. Like Saturdays are definitely my busy day of doing all my household stuff where I'm like, oh, the kitchen's gotten a little bit messy. Let me rearrange this real quick and fix this back to how it needs. Because I'm not perfect. I make mistakes and I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, wow, where is everything again? And so then there's days I have to go back and reorganize stuff. So it happens to all of us, I feel.
That's fair. I know one thing for me that pops up, just being a manager and having a lot of interactions with lots of different managers, leads, associates, and maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. But when I see something that isn't organized and like my brain, I'm about to like blow a gasket, how do you manage that within yourself so it doesn't like show when you're trying to help someone or trying to like give them hints of, hey, like maybe this could be a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a very blunt and upfront person. So I just be like, listen, you have 1,000 unread emails. What's going on, dude? Like this drives me crazy. Does this not drive you crazy? And I kind of started there as a me situation. Like that bothers me. Does it bother you? And then kind of leave that open to them. If it does, if it doesn't, if it does, then we can kind of dig into it a little bit more. If it doesn't, I can ask why. And then I can explain the like impact of it. Like, oh, well, maybe you missed this DP, or there's been plenty of cases where I sent out an email not going to respond. So I'm like, oh, well, that answer was in this email if you would have pulled that up. So maybe we can organize your email a little bit more. That way you can easily find our things and make it a little easier for them. Because I know that's a big thing for a lot of associates and everybody with emails in general. Because I feel like emails can easily get cluttered. So
absolutely. Especially if you're gone for a while and then you come back and then it's just a massive 300 emails. Some of them are important that you need to respond to. Others just informational, like you said, DLP updates or, newsletters, things of that nature that are important, but
not top priority.
Right. Or sent from an automated email instead of a manager or a supervisor of some sort. So yeah, that can be a lot. How do you feel showing people how organizing their spaces can also help organize their minds in the sense of kind of freeing it up where there's not a lot of clutter and how that can kind of help with de-stressing?
Yeah, I'm definitely a clean stressor. When I'm stressed, the house gets manic clean. So I feel that on a spiritual level that cleaning just really helps reset your space. And I try and get that to them by explaining, like, when I'm really stressed out, I do just clean. It helps. It clears your mind because you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about where X thing is or Y thing is. I can just find it where it is. And I'm not as stressed about that, which leads those small stressors. Because I feel like the big stressors aren't always the things that tip people off. It's the small things that build up that really push people over the edge. So being able to clean up those small things that push people really can get you focused back on that bigger task that maybe is stressing you out to help minimize that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Focusing on those small things first to get all the little things out of the way so that big thing doesn't seem as big.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me think back to, it was an ELP. It was like the jar of life, if either of you know what the jar of life is.
No.
Basically, there's like a jar, and there's these different like pebbles that you put into it, and it's things that are in your life. So like, I don't know, like for like a 12-year-old like Fortnite, that's probably a pretty big rock for them.
Yeah.
But other things like eating and other things like spending time with your family or getting your work done. There's all these different little pebbles and big pebbles that you have to put inside of your jar of life.
Yeah.
It's a lot because you really have to start recognizing importance. What is more important? I think that's a big thing with organization.
Yeah.
What is the hardest thing for you when you're going through a list of trying to mark things as important or more important than this or more important than that? Or is that even difficult for you? Is it pretty easy?
In work life, I feel like it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward, cut dry. But in personal life, it's really difficult. There's been times where I had a friend's wedding who I previously had told them, like, yes, I'm going to come. That's going to be great. But then my mom, we planned something and she hadn't had a date yet. So we planned something for that same day. And then she came out, sent the wedding invites, and we had those. So I had to debate, do I go to a friend's wedding or do I go hang out with my mom? It was difficult because I'm like, I love both of these people. But in my mind, I'm like, a wedding typically only happens once. We can reschedule with my mom. I can work it out. But it can be really difficult at times with that. I feel like more with people interaction. When it's just a cleaning thing or like a email work thing, I can kind of get past that because there's that logic aspect to it. When you start involving like that emotional aspect, I think that's where it gets really difficult.
That's completely fair. Muddies things up when you have to organize relationships and how you're managing them and all of that.
Absolutely. And then the emotional entanglement as well and how that can affect it. I know that that can also be a hang up for when people are cleaning out spaces. A lot of sentimental tchotchkes and things like that could be in the house, furniture, things like that. I know I am guilty of this where I'm like, but this was my grandfather's chair. I can't get rid of my grandfather's chair. But like you also have to take a step back and sit with it. And I think that's the really important thing is to kind of sit and see how it feels with you. If it's the right time to get rid of it now, then it's the right time to get rid of it now. If it's not, then maybe, all right, I can't get rid of this. Now, how does this play in my life? And I had to remind myself that, it's hard. My grandfather passed many, many years ago for his chair. But it was for his chair. No. But I also remembered, he's not that chair.
Yeah.
I have other things that are more important. So I think that's always going to be a hard thing of going, what's more important? How do you feel that? Yeah, that can be really tricky. That can be really, really tricky.
I feel like I'm a hoarder when it comes to like birthday cards and that stuff. Like I have a big old pamphlet because I can't get rid of that. There's just too much emotional sentimentality to it that I'm like, so I definitely understand that side. I feel like that's where I get difficult in my hoarding style is more of the sentimental things.
Absolutely.
I'm like, oh, but I can't get rid of this. Like this has value to me.
Right. And I think when you have those things too, you then go, all right, this is something that I know I have to keep. How can I organize this in my life and how that works? Do you find it difficult to find, that area and navigating that? Especially because I think some people are like, well, I just don't have the space to keep this. I don't have this.
Yeah.
So when you have those obstacles, what are some things that you kind of go through?
Yeah, I start off with the organization of, I feel like I use a lot of boxes. I feel like boxes and having designated spaces helps. So like all those envelopes and letters are all in one designated spot that's at my personal computer desk in a drawer. So like I know it's there, it has its space. So I just try and make that space for it. In a case where I don't have the space, that's probably when I would really seriously consider like, this means a lot to me. But is it worth me being stressed about not having a space for this? And then most of the time I'm willing to be like, I don't want to stress about this. Let me just let it go, even though it's saddening. And maybe somebody else can find a better use for it is why I tell myself, like, I donate and do a lot of that stuff because I feel like it'll go to somebody who really needs it. So I feel like that helps a little bit too.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sucks giving away those things, but it might make it easier, like you said, if I donate this chair, for example, I have 16 chairs in my house, whatever you have. But there's a person out there that has 3 chairs and it really needs a desk chair. You know what I mean? And it's a good chair, but you're like, it's either just sitting in the corner of my office, taking up space for a filing cabinet for more organizing, or it's, wow, someone can use it. So that's a good point to bring up when we're kind of looking at things more in a like technological aspect. I don't think I said that word right, but we're here anyways. Emails, file folders, things like that. I know that's where some people struggle a lot because it's not physical for them. They don't put their hands on it.
Yeah.
What are some tools that you use to organize your day, organize your files, whatever you need that's on your computer or desktop?
Yeah, I typically, when it comes to organizing files and things, I have like folders and things. So I go off of mixture of things. Like if I have special projects or things I'm doing, I create a specific folder for that project. Or like if I have to keep track of attendance for a certain thing, I have it all in one specific folder, and I have it like broken down to based off of what I need. So like if I have my own personal folder, I have my own name, and then underneath it in that folder, I have a bunch of different folders for different things. That way it breaks down my personal stuff that I need. And I feel like that helps. And then on top of that, as soon as I get a new file or something, I immediately put it there. I don't just let it sit. I immediately organize it so that it doesn't sit and pile up, because I think that's where it gets daunting. I feel like for new associates and newer people getting into organization where they're starting off fresh, like a fresh email or fresh something, that makes it a little easier because you're starting from scratch. But going from having all these files to organizing all these files, I think that's going to be like the difficult part for most people, because they have to kind of throw out their line of thinking and redo it. And I feel like I just start from scratch. I kind of just leave everything how it is, create a new folder, and then start from there, and then move things as I can and do. Just that way it makes it easier. And I set myself small goals of do this thing first. Like I revamped a lot of my organization because I just felt it wasn't flowing well with me anymore. So I revamped it, and I started with, associates first. Let me get this done first, and this, and then that. So I slowly progressed with things, and I didn't do it all at once. I told myself I'm going to give myself 2 weeks to get this done. Just planned out each day kind of what time allotted I wanted to give to that, and then I would do it. Obviously, there's cases where you slip up a little bit, but in the end, I ended up getting it all organized halfway through the second week, which was pretty cool.
Yes, that's great. And then like day by day, as you go through, what ways do you, or what tools or what ways do you organize yourself? Not necessarily files wise, but like I have to complete this today. I have to do this next week. I have to do this then. Are you a calendar person? Are you like a to-do list person?
To-do list person. I have like a little notepad that I'll write everything out, and I'll have like the different days and all of that I need to do for. Typically it's bi-weekly. So at like 2 weeks I get stuff planned. Obviously things like doctors, stuff like that. I have a calendar for that, and I just had like a reminder because I will forget. I'm terrible at times for that stuff. I'm like, oh, I think I have a doctor's appointment Wednesday. Do I? Let me look that up again. So I definitely have all that inputted so that I can refer back to both paper and on my phone, because something physical helps me too. Like writing it down, having something physical, it really helps solidify it in my brain a little bit more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have been there, I don't know how many times. I think I checked, meetings for the rest of the week 6 times this morning. And I was like, why? You just looked at this. You should have remembered it. But you know what? Just going to double check
just in case, because it changes.
Yeah. And I want to make sure I'm not missing one thing or another. And, I think it's really, I was just remembering you talking about your email and all of those folders and everything that you're doing. And I think it's a great point that everybody seems to forget that there are no rules or parameters when it comes to how you organize your digital life on your computer, your personal or professional. You can have 1,500 folders if you want them organized that way. You can have 14 different folders in your email. Like it's okay. And I think that's always hard because you're like, oh, well, cluttering means you don't need a lot of things. Like sometimes.
Yeah.
When you need to really deep dive and organize, depending on what you're working on, research, work, personal things, you need all of that. And I forgot that. And so you just talking about like, oh, I have a folder like this, and then it's broken down here, and then it's broken down there. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to just have 10 emails boxes and just go, hopefully this will be enough. And just that's my limit. That's my limit there.
And then 3 months down the line, someone comes around and they're like, hey, do you remember when this happened 3 months ago? And you're like, there's 17,000 emails in that folder.
I'm just like, oh, here, shoot. Like, and I like plop it up. There was a time in a lead engagement that they were like, oh, what about this one email that was referenced? And like the senior lead was like, yeah, let me find that. I was like, bam, here you go. I got it. And they were just like, how did you get that so quickly? I'm like, I organize like crazy. So it's really awesome to be able to do that. To be like, oh yeah, here's this real quick, because it helps. It helps not even me, but just the people that I help and assist on the daily. They're like, oh, what about this? And I'm like, oh, here's this. And they're just like, how did you find that so quickly? I'm like, I'm just organized, man. I don't know how to say much more because I'm like, I feel like I just do it so naturally that I'm like, I I just do it. So then I have to like hardcore think when I'm helping people, like, what makes sense to you? This makes sense to me. Does this make sense to you? And it can be a little difficult because I use my logical common sense, which may not be with everybody else because everybody grew up differently. So
you have to like remove yourself to
Absolutely.
try to put yourself in their shoes. But the
For
only way to
sure.
do that is ask questions. Of how do we get there? What works for you? And you need someone on the other side to say, this does.
Yeah.
Or maybe that does, maybe that does. I'm not sure yet.
yeah.
To really get those things going. But, you know, organization, I feel like really breeds fulfillment at the end of the day. Because you know all this work that you've put in to sort these documents or your apartment or house or these emails. And then 6 months down the line, you get a question and you're like, boom.
Yeah.
That makes you feel good. At least
For
it makes
sure.
me feel good.
I agree.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I did it. I was resourceful today.
Yep.
So, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Sam, thank you for so much for jumping on this episode with us, talking about organization and kind of giving us some of your tools to go over how you organize and really set things up for success for yourself.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Principal Choice Podcast. Today, we talked with Sam Huffman, and they described a little bit about how they became organized and have remained organized. If you need a little bit of help remaining organized, like I did before this episode, there are some show notes just below the episode. Oh, find your purpose. I still need work on organization. I need those show notes. Find your purpose, find your people, and find your place on the Principal Choice Podcast.